Yo, what's going on, guys? Dave Locker with OddsShopper back again for another season of NFL betting. And boy, is this a big undertaking every week. I forgot. I had to remember how I did this video because it's so many games and it's so time consuming, but that's fine. We love this stuff. I'd rather be here than anywhere else right now. We're talking picks for every single game of week one. We'll run it throughout the entire season. Now, we're not going to like all 16 games. Recommendation would be don't parlay everything and wonder why it didn't hit. We're going to pick our spots. Now, I'll give you some leans for some spots, other spots I love, a few player props mixed in there along the way, and we'll get it cracking. Now, last thing I ask, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments your favorite bets for this week. What are you hammering? What are you staying away from? What should we be looking at as the listener and everybody else? Let's make it happen. All right, baby, let's do it. We'll kick it off with Thursday Night Football. And keep in mind, guys, just so you know, if you're new to this, maybe you were with me last year, if you're new to this channel, if you're new to this show, I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So some things will always change. Just understand that. Pay attention to some injury news if possible and other breaking news throughout the week, especially leading into week one. But we'll kick it off with the Detroit Lions, plus 4.5 against Kansas City. Chiefs were dismal and 52-point total in this game. The Chiefs were dismal against the spread last year. Lions were great. But a lot of that is because the Lions were just shorted every single week, right? By the books, by the public, everything. They're not going to be huge dogs every week anymore. They're expected to be pretty decent this year, as a matter of fact. But the biggest news in this game, let's not bury the lead, Travis Kelce. Hyperextended his knee at practice. They're calling it a bone bruise. But his brother, funny enough, Jason, was saying, he still thinks that as long as the swelling can go down, because he's dealt with the same thing, that Travis could be good to play, which makes this game even more interesting because the line moved from 6.5 to 4.5, 6 in some spots, but it's down to 4.5. And now he's being listed as questionable for this game, which I like because now I have no doubt that the Lions offense is going to be pretty good this season. And especially if Jameson Williams comes back and makes an impact, an early contribution when he returns from the suspension. But we're still talking about Patrick Mahomes on the other side of this game, with or without Travis Kelce. And this is a Lions defense that even if they've made improvements, like they added C.J. Gardner-Johnson, there's some improvements they've made, still a Lions defense that got absolutely carved up last year. They won games with their offense, not with their defense. You have to win games with your offense against Patrick Mahomes, even if Kelce's out. But I think there's a legitimate chance that Travis Kelce plays. So if you get this at 4.5 with Travis Kelce playing, that's huge. Even if he doesn't play, I still don't mind the 4.5 here. You're getting Mahomes at home at this number. And even assuming Chris Jones is out defensively, holding out of this game unless they come to some type of agreement, I still think the Chiefs can win this game by a touchdown. The firepower with Patrick Mahomes and the weapons he has, even without Kelce. There may not be any huge names, but it's still a spot that I like. At home, Thursday Night Football to kick off the season. Give me the Chiefs, minus 4.5. Next up, we got the Niners, minus 2.5 against the Steelers, 41-point total here. I had done this Wednesday afternoon saying, it looks like Nick Bosa's not going to play, but he just signed a monster contract literally as I finished this. Hey, look, he's awesome. It doesn't change too much for me here, though. It's a good defense one way or another. And also, we don't have injury reports, but it doesn't look like George Kittle's going to play this game either. They have a good offense, too. Whatever. But Brock Purdy was great last year. Guy got thrust into action as a rookie. He was actually Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the draft, right? So the Niners have a lot of weapons with or without Kittle, but I'm not fully buying into the Purdy hype in week one. You're on the road in a hostile environment against what I think is going to be a good Steelers team, a well-coached team under Tomlin. It's a little sketchy that they brought Matt Canada back, and I know a lot of you Steelers fans weren't stoked about it, but I actually like the Steelers a little bit here. We obviously need to see Kenny Pickett take a step forward too, but there's no shortage of options in the passing game. Najee Harris, presumably some Jaylen Warren too. They'll be running behind a better new look offensive line as well. I actually like the Steelers here as a dog at home. And instead of taking the 2.5 points inside a field goal, I'd rather play the money line. I think they could be sneaky good in a spot like this. It's actually plus 120 on DraftKings, which is the best place you're going to get this. Tampa Bay at Minnesota. Bucks, 6-point dogs, 45.5 point total. It's a weird game for me for a lot of reasons because on the surface, the Vikings at -6, they look great. There's another spot I like in this game, though. The total sitting at 45 right now on Caesars, 45.5 everywhere else. And by the way, if you haven't taken advantage of every opportunity to get free money, the start of the football season is undoubtedly the time to do it. Caesars right now, bet $50, get 250 in bonus bets. Think about that for a second. Even if you lose your bet, you get 250 in bonus bets. Yeah, let's say you win your bet and it's an even money spot. You win 50, now you have 100, and you have $250 in bonus bets. Essentially, anywhere else in the world, someone says, give me $50 and I'll give you 250. Your snap going to go, yeah, that sounds like a fair deal. You may even look at them odd, think they're trying to take you for some money, but it's Caesar Sportsbook. They've been operating for forever. I threw the link in the description. The link is in the pinned comment. Take advantage of all of the free money that you can throughout the start of this football season, because I promise you it's going to dry up quick. And one other thing to consider, shop every sportsbook. Don't sit on one sportsbook and be like, yo, I like this game, I'm going to bet it here. And then it turns out that it's better at 3 other sportsbooks and you lose by the hook. That's what we're talking about here. It's not just the free money at Caesars, but it's also the fact that now you can shop more lines, more odds than you would on that single solitary or 2 books that you're working with. I threw the link in the description and in the chat. Collect that free money and let's get on with this. All right, so on the surface, like I said, Vikings -6 is solid, fine. But the total, I like the over 45 on Caesars. I don't know if I watched the different Vikings team than you guys did or anybody else did last year, but they stunk defensively. I mean, they got carved up through the air. And I get that Brian Flores has taken over on defense, but this secondary is almost entirely unproven. And they get absolutely destroyed through the air in 2022. We're talking about this game being played in a dome between the Vikings' high-powered offense. We know that Jefferson, Hawkinson, Madison, he'll be fine. Rookie Jordan Addison, those guys are going to be able to put up numbers with Kirk Cousins at the helm. And then on the other side, yeah, say what you want about Baker Mayfield. It's likely justified. I'm not going to dispute that. But this guy has Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as well working with him. He'll be facing a Minnesota pass defense that was carved up every week. I think he can do enough to get us there. I also like Rachaad White in this backfield and think he can contribute in the passing game as well. The Viking games last year went 12-6 to the over, including the postseason. And despite Baker Mayfield's presence, in spite of Baker Mayfield, I think the Bucs do enough to get this north of 45 here. I'm taking the over on 45. I already bet it. I threw it into our chalkboard group. It's free, by the way. All of the picks and conversation and community is free. Link in the description. All of that's free. 45, I already bet that over between the Bucs and Vikings. Titans getting 3 points against the Saints, 41-point total here. There's really nothing I love about this game, mostly just because there's still a ton of unknowns with both of these teams. Let's think about it, right? Dennis Allen hasn't shown much of anything as a head coach. Derek Carr hasn't played a snap with the Saints yet. He's an upgrade from Winston and Dalton, but we'll see how big. You could call me crazy, but we'll see how big of an upgrade he is. They'll be without Alvin Kamara, and whatever. I mean, that's fine in this spot. Jamal Williams is fine. But I also have no clue what Michael Thomas is going to look like in his return, even though reports are that he's looked pretty good. And then with Tennessee, they landed DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to be alongside Treylon Burks. And I assume Hopkins still has some gas in the tank. This to me doesn't appear like a Julio Jones just left for dead in Tennessee. I think DeAndre Hopkins clearly still has something left. But Derrick Henry's efficiency faltered a bit last year. Ryan Tannehill also just had no one to throw to, so I don't think that helped Derrick Henry at all, and the offense stalled out a lot. But the Titans on defense were a pass funnel team. Pass funnel. Stout run defense, struggled in pass defense, gave up a ton through the air. If that stays similar in 2022, I think Carr should be able to move the ball. And with Thomas, especially Chris Olave going into his second year, and the Titans, they have plenty of question marks themselves. And this Saints defense is no slouch. Actually, they're good. But the Titans are healthy on offense. The more I think about this as I was going through this game, the more I actually like over 41. And I know a lot of people are probably going to hammer the under here. I like over 41. I think both of these teams can do enough, right? 24, 21 games, something like that to get us over. It's a low total in a dome, especially considering both of these offenses are fully healthy for the first time in a while outside of Alvin Kamara. Houston getting 9.5 at Baltimore, 44-point total. I bet Baltimore minus 9.5 earlier in the summer, and I don't have any reason not to like them today, honestly. They're minus 10 in most spots, but you can still get them at 9.5 on FanDuel. FanDuel's got a bet 5 and get $100 in bonus bets as well. Bet if you're not over there. I'll throw that link down in the description if you're not on FanDuel. I know laying this many points feels gross, but are we really backing Houston at plus 10? That's where you'd take them if you were. I mean, you could, but we're talking about a completely wet behind the ears quarterback in C.J. Stroud, whose top pass catching options are Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Noah Brown, maybe Tank Dell. And Dameon Pierce was awesome as a rookie, but he's not going to be the reason they keep this game competitive. They also added Will Anderson, number 3 in the draft. Awesome. He's going to be sick. But this isn't enough to stay competitive. And honestly, the Ravens, man, look at this offense now. And a new offensive coordinator in Todd Monken can open things up through the air. I don't think they'll need to, honestly. We have J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards fully healthy in the backfield. The O-line is very good. Lamar Jackson fully healthy. Mark Andrews is now joined by Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, first-round pick. You've got a presumably healthy Rashad Bateman. They got a lot of guys here. And the Texans were absolutely bludgeoned on the ground last year. We still know, new offensive coordinator or not, this team loves to run the football, whether it's with Jackson or highly efficient running backs in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. I think, sure, D'Amico Ryans as a rookie head coach can make some good adjustments to this defense because it can't get any worse than last year, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, the fact that we're still getting the Ravens inside of 10 points is enough for me to jump. Should be enough for you guys to jump. I already did. I also like J.K. Dobbins over 55.5 rushing yards against this defense. The guy averages 5.9 yards per attempt for his career. 24 career games. It's crazy how many he's missed, but great offensive line. He's healthy. He's fresh. Houston allowed a league worst 171 rushing yards per game last season. That's all we need to know, baby. Jacksonville at Indianapolis, I should say. You got to get back in football mode here. Jacksonville minus 5, 45-point total. This seems way too obvious, so I'm hesitant to lay the points, but it's hard not to like the Jags at minus 5. Colts are at home, sure, but Anthony Richardson didn't look good in the preseason, particularly from an accuracy perspective. And Jonathan Taylor's not going to be on the field either. That gives you what? Deion Jackson, Evan Hull, 5th-round rookie, maybe Zach Moss, unlikely. I'm a big fan of Michael Pittman, and Alec Pierce might be good too. But, I mean, a rookie quarterback who's a legitimate, project quarterback in this league, in his first regular season start, I don't know. I don't see it. I mean, the Jags just have so much firepower. Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne, to Evan Ingram, and now Calvin Ridley. There's a lot here. They're a well-coached team with Doug Peterson at the helm. They have the advantage from top to bottom here. Give me the Jags minus 5 despite their popularity. Bengals are laying 2.5 at Cleveland, 47.5-point total. Hey, this feels like one of those games where the Browns could steal it at home in a big divisional rivalry. I mean, they're 2.5-point dogs. That's it. Season opener, in front of a rowdy home crowd, and the dog pound? Come on now. I mean, Joe Burrow's he's practicing fully. He just tweeted that he's ready to go. So we don't know yet, but it looks like he's going to play in week 1. I think he could absolutely be rusty early on in this game. And Deshaun Watson actually finally had a full offseason to get himself right with his Browns team. He doesn't have all that madness, the looming suspension, all of that hovering over his head anymore. You've got Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper. They're going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. But, I mean, look, Elijah Moore, that addition is no slouch, and they love him there. David Njoku's no slouch at tight end. There's no reason they can't compete and win this game. Yes, Cincinnati's loaded with talent. We absolutely know that. And both of these defenses I expect to be strong. But the simple fact that Burrow's been on ice for so long and returns to the road for a divisional game in week 1, right, in the Browns' home opener, I'm willing to bet against that, especially early on. So what I'm going to do in this game, I like the Browns' first half money line at plus 110 because the money line on the game is plus 110 in most spots anyway. So Burrow can do whatever the hell he wants in the second half, turn it up, go on a run. I like for them to start off a little bit slow here and the Browns to come out hot at home. Give me Browns money line plus 110 in the first half. Arizona, 7-point dogs at Washington, 38-point total. Look, I'm sorry. We've already taken a couple of dogs here, right? So I'm not just hammering the favorites in all these spots. I apologize, though, because this is a pretty obvious favorite. I just can't back the Cardinals here. I mean, tell me why you think I'm wrong in the comments if you disagree, but Jonathan Gannon hasn't even named the starting quarterback yet going into week one. And his options are journeyman Joshua Dobbs or fifth-round rookie Clayton Tune. I mean, this team is likely going to be, they're almost certainly going to be very, very, very bad. It's a complete rebuild in Arizona right now. And while the Commanders aren't some juggernaut themselves, I mean, shit, Sam Howell is their starting quarterback. They do have some pieces they have enough pieces to be a competitive football team week in and week out on both sides of the ball. This was at -6.5. I would have liked that better than 7, but it hasn't moved through 7 yet. So I'm fine laying the points on Washington. Even if Terry McLaurin doesn't play, his absence isn't going to change that for me. Let's put it pretty simply here. I don't see how this Cardinals offense is going to function as an NFL offense. And outside of the safety position, which is good, I don't see how this defense is even remotely good enough to keep them competitive by themselves. Look at the Broncos in 2022. That defense kept them competitive with an awful offense, but they were legitimately great. They're probably going to be equally as bad as the offense this year. Give me the Commanders, -7. What else can we say? Panthers, 3.5-point dogs at the Falcons, 39.5-point total here. Frank Reich played his starters a decent amount in the preseason. Knowing they needed all of the work that they could get, they're going to need more work than they got. Over the last 20 years, teams to draft a quarterback 1 overall and start him in week 1 are 1-13 against the spread. That's wild. It's not entirely surprising, though. I mean, first of all, it's not like Bryce Young has elite weapons in the passing game. DJ Shark, Adam Thielen, second-round rookie Jonathan Mingo, and Hayden Hurst. And Miles Sanders is solid, but we can't sleep on the fact that the guy led the league in yards before contact last year. That says a whole lot about running behind arguably the best offensive line in football with the Eagles. I'm looking for Atlanta to just look to run the ball down Carolina's throat in this game. They tried to do it every week last year, and they did it with some relative success as well. But now they have Bijan Robinson to assist them in that effort. What a difference that makes. As a top 10 pick and potentially a generational talent. Desmond Ridder doesn't move the needle for me. He shouldn't move the needle for you either. But Drake London and Kyle Pitts do, especially if Ridder isn't asked to do a lot, and he's not going to be. I expect it to be a low-scoring game for sure, though. I think Atlanta can cover the 3.5 at home, especially since they've also made some very noticeable free agent additions in the offseason on the defense, which should really make – I think we'll notice that right away. They should look a lot better than they did in 2022. Pretty improved football team on both sides of the ball. Give me Falcons -3.5. Eagles -3.5 at the Patriots in Foxborough, 45-point total here. Eagles are -3.5 on PointsBet. They're -4 everywhere else. So if you're at PointsBet, take advantage of that. It should be a slow, lowish scoring game. I'm never going to discount the Patriots at home, though. Yes, under Bill Belichick coach team. Say what you want without Tom Brady, but I still respect that guy. And let's not forget about the dreaded Super Bowl hangover for the Super Bowl loser. I don't really take that much into consideration, but I honestly think I'm laying off this game from a sides perspective. The Patriots, I think, could potentially surprise us. They're taking 55% of the money right now on the spread. Look, metaphorical gun to the head, I'm laying the 3.5 on the Eagles because they're just on paper such a better team than the Patriots. But I don't think I'm betting this. It feels like the spread should be bigger, and it's not, and that worries me. We can have some fun, though. What about an Ezekiel Elliott anytime touchdown at +285? Rumors are that this guy is going to be potentially the goal line back. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets a lot of goal line touches over Ramondre Stevenson, as we saw a lot with Damian Harris. I don't mind sprinkling a few bucks on Ezekiel Elliott +285. I think they brought him in for a very obvious reason behind Ramondre Stevenson, and a lot of that could be goal line work. But that's just us having some fun with an anytime touchdown prop at pretty big plus money, +285. Miami's getting 3 at the Chargers, 51-point total. This is another seemingly obvious spot, but I am going to play the over here. As long as the Dolphins can protect Tua Tagovailoa from Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, it's a tough ask, I know. He'll be throwing to 2 of the best receivers in the league. And, I mean, he doesn't have much outside of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, right? Braxton Berrios is your wide receiver 3. Durham Smythe is your tight end. It's not great, but it's a fast-paced offense where they operate so well in space. They pick up huge yards after the catch. These guys, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, we've seen it. They can beat any defense. I think Miami scores points here. I really do, even against the good Chargers defense. And then Justin Herbert has an embarrassment of riches on offense as well. Miami's not going to have Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. We know he'll be out till like September or December at the earliest. That helps. But you're talking Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett. They got some guys. I mean, they're not even starting Quentin Johnson right now. And this guy's a top pick in the draft. This should be a shootout. I think it's going to – I like this game, the shootout. 51's relatively high, but it's not crazy between two of the best, most talented offenses in the league. Just protect Tua and don't get this guy another concussion. That's all we ask. Rams getting 5.5 at Seattle, 46.5 point total. Look, I have no confidence in the Rams without Cooper Kupp, and it seems highly unlikely that he plays in Week 1. Even if you wanted to blame the injuries last year, when it comes to Matthew Stafford, you want to blame the O-line injuries. You want to say that Stafford was injured. That's fine, but this offense is still really bad without Cooper Kupp, and now their defense is projected to be one of the worst in the league, particularly their secondary. That's not good. And we've already grabbed a few dogs to win outright in this week, or at least the first half outright with the Browns, Steelers outright as well. But I can't do that here. I just can't. Even in a divisional spot, with the expectation that Cooper Kupp sits. If he doesn't, that changes everything. But the guy just saw a specialist 2 days ago. I don't know what you expect me to think of this game, or any of us for that matter. I'm not firmly bought into Cam Akers. And the rest of the Rams receivers, besides Cooper Kupp, I mean, these guys are like wide receiver 3s at best on any other team. Maybe Van Jefferson takes a leap, but we haven't seen it yet. It's a lopsided offense lopsided matchup, on offense. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. He's going to play. Pete Carroll already said it. And then in the backfield, Kenneth Walker, now second-round rookie, and Zach Charbonnet. Like, this is a loaded offense. Assuming Geno Smith doesn't regress back to being bad again. At home in front of the 12th man to open up the season, I'll lay the 5.5 on Sunday afternoon on this Seattle squad. Green Bay getting a point here at Chicago, 43-point total. I'm staying away from the sides in this one. I just don't have a good feel for this game. I'd lean Chicago -1, but that's just because this video is titled Picks for Every Game. I do, however, really like Aaron Jones rushing prop over 55.5. The Bears have to prove that they can contain the run. And the starters didn't do that in the preseason yet. Certainly not last year either. With a rookie quarterback and Jordan Love, you know what I mean. He's not a rookie, but he's a rookie in the sense, like that you would call a baseball pitcher a rookie when they finally come up and they're a legitimate starter. First-time starter, we should say, in Jordan Love. I expect Matt LaFleur really to lean heavily on the ground game. And Jones is still their best, most explosive player in this offense. Expect A.J. Dillon to get worked in plenty as well. But with Rodgers gone, I think a heavy dose of Jones in this run game particularly is in a game that's mostly a toss-up, in my opinion, makes the most sense here. Give me over 55.5 rushing yards on Aaron Jones. So I mentioned earlier to you guys when it comes to Caesars or any of these books, FanDuel, the ones you're not on, that shopping odds is going to be the way that you consistently win. That's why we have OddsShopper. That's why we built OddsShopper.com. And right now, 70% off your first week or your first month using the link in the description or in chat using the promo code Let's Go when you use that link and sign up. We have taken an approach where we use the market against itself, okay? We have advanced algorithms that are essentially setting this up to where you just click Shop NFL Odds and you get all of the best bets. You can see the expected ROI or the expected value on all of them. We have a bankroll tracker that shows you how much to wager on every bet, depending on what your bankroll is, and so much more. We're using the market against itself. So what we're doing is if there are 8 books available to you, we're showing you not only where the best book is or the best line, the best odds are for every single bet, but using our algorithm, we're pan-picking the best ones that are the best expected value every single time. Check it out for yourself. We've made so many improvements and adjustments over the last year. This site has come so far, to say the least, and you're getting 70% off everything. You have to put no thought into this whatsoever. The best bets are there for you. You just filter them by the best ones. They all show up. Bang, 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 you're in. You want to be on as many sports books as possible in order to fully maximize the value of OddsShopper. But this tool is amazing, guys. I'm telling you, for the NFL season, you'll want to check it out. 70% off the first week or the month. Link in the description or in chat using the promo code Let's Go, all one word, all caps. Raiders are 4-point dogs against the Broncos, 44-point total here. I'll keep this one very simple. Prove to me that you're good at football again, Russell Wilson. Then we can start talking about laying 4 points on the Broncos. How about that? I mean, seriously, though, are we totally convinced that Nathaniel Hackett was the only problem? He was terrible last year. He should have been gone after 3 weeks. But Wilson was also terrible. And the Broncos are already going to be without, I'm assuming they're going to be without Jerry Jeudy. And Tim Patrick's done for the year. So, and you have Javonte Williams, who made a miraculous recovery from that knee injury, but he's going to be worked in, and Samaje Perine's just fine. The Broncos' defense is stellar, no doubt about it. That's what makes them stand out. They're very good. But at the same time, the Raiders' pass rush could cause some serious issues for Russell Wilson, and we still need to see if this guy can perform under pressure. We haven't seen it yet. We have not seen it yet. Even with Sean Payton's genius at the helm, attacking the blitz, getting the ball out early. I'll take the Raiders +4 and under 44 in this game. Broncos unders were an absolute cash cow for us last year, and I'll ride it until we see a noticeable difference in this offense, because we know the defense is going to keep the score low, or at least we think they will, on the other side, even though last year in one of these matchups against the Raiders they did. Cowboys -3. 3-point favorites against the Giants, 46.5-point total. The Giants were a paper tiger last year, and we all know it, but they kept covering the spread in wild ways until the Eagles beat the brakes off of them in the divisional round. They should be pretty decent this year. Plus, the addition of Darren Waller certainly helps. They've made improvements elsewhere. The Cowboys are a better overall team, though. But this being a home opener for the Giants in a huge divisional spot, like, we have to tread carefully in these type of spots, right? I don't think we should love either side of the spread. Maybe you do. Let me know in the comments. I don't. If anything, I bet the Giants money line at +152 on FanDuel. That's the best line out there on the money line. But that's just because I think they have a legitimate shot to win this game. And with that in mind, I'd rather that than taking them at +3 points at a field goal. One spot I really love here, though, Brandon Cooks over 19.5 yards, longest reception. This guy's in there. He's going to stretch the field. That's why he's here. Brandon Cooks over 19.5 against a Giants secondary that could be good, but is still unproven in a lot of ways. Give me over 19.5 yards for longest reception on Brandon Cooks. There's another fun one for us. I love that one for week 1. And we'll close it out with the Bills -2.5 at the Jets, 46.5-point total. Could we ask for a better game to kick off week 1 of Monday Night Football? I mean, make no mistake about it either. It's not just Aaron Rodgers that makes this game exciting or makes this game highly competitive. This team has a defense that's going to be truly elite this year. Remember what they did to the Bills last year? This is an elite defense. I would be pretty surprised if this game does not come down to the wire between two really good football teams. I mean, obviously we know all we need to know about the Bills with Josh Allen and company, but it's as tough as a matchup as it's going to get for Josh Allen as far as an opposing defense goes. Not to mention, it's at home for the Jets in Rodgers' debut. Like, I think, the public could definitely like this spot for the Jets. And I'll have a lot more on this when I do the Monday Night Football video come Monday morning. But for now, I'm looking at the Jets +2.5 and under 46.5. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people go, Josh Allen and the Jets. Man, this game, I like a lot of scoring. I would not be shocked to see a lower scoring game with two good defenses and that Jets defense potentially being really, really dominant this year. Appreciate you guys watching. As always, hit that thumbs up, subscribe before you go. Remember, I threw the Caesars links, FanDuel, whatever it is, wherever you want to sign up at in the description. Take that free money while it's out there, and 70% off everything we got at OddsShopper, be it the week or the month. Just use the promo code Let's Go. Let's have a great week. Let's have some fun, and I'll catch you back here for week 2. Peace.